So I was playing the Battlefield beta the other day, and I was one of the few people who actually liked the UI of it and thought that the way they did icons and stuff was pretty cool, actually. And so I just wanted to like break down how they get this 3D effect on the models and make it kind of feel tealy and still kind of icon-y at the same time, while still being 3D. I thought it was a nice blend between all those different things. So anyway, the process for it is pretty simple. Essentially, you'll take the 3D model, render it with a harsh lighting like this, and then run a couple effects over it, and you'll get this teal look on all the models. And if you want any of these presets, I have stuff like this Hdri, which I use to light it, the actual Photoshop effects and everything. You can download all that in the description, so just feel free to check those out. But yeah, so essentially, like, to break down why I rendered it the way I did, I looked at this guy and I realized that the way the model was lit is both left and right, and kind of like even on the top here you can sort of see. And I think what happened is they have like a ring light all the way around it, and it's perpendicular to the camera, and so it creates these like really harsh edges on everything like an icon would. You know, if I actually go to my icon section, you'll see like everything is super harsh and readable from afar, so like has these hard lines on everything. So you want to get that with a 3D model. And so by having a ring light all the way around, you still get these really sharp edges here on the sides and kind of just like indicating the form of it and kind of feeling like an icon. And so to begin, I'll actually hop into Stager where I'll be rendering it. And you can do this wherever you want, and you can use whatever lighting you want to. It's just I have my thing already set up. And so I will make a new camera, just make it 1080 by 1080, just make it a square, and then get rid of the ground plane. And so now I'll essentially drop the model in and then kind of position the camera properly. So I have a couple models already saved. So I'll just put in this marksman rifle and position the camera so that it's like perfectly looking at it from the side. So I'll select the camera, go to transform and just change 90, 0, and I think that's fine. So I'll lock the camera so I don't accidentally move it, and I will change the material of it. So like I mentioned, I want it to have this real reflective material so that it bounces off the lighting, and so that there's not like this soft diffuse edge or diffuse like kind of gradient, but like a hard edge to it. So I will go into my materials, and I'll probably just take a real smooth plastic. So I'll take plastic, drop it onto there, and then change the color to probably white and drop the roughness down quite a bit. And so now I'll just put the environment HDRI on. So I'll go to lights, HDRI, select the folder. And if I go into my HDRI section, I have this one right here. And you'll see it's like all white. And the reason is it's rotated wrong for me. So I'll just rotate that 90 degrees. And so now if I actually turn on ray tracing, you'll see it's rendering just like my icons here. So you're getting that harsh edge. So we'll render it here in Stager and then bring those into Photoshop. And actually, if you're going to use Stager, the one thing to note is that you'll probably want to render a PSD, and I'll show you why in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and turn off ray tracing because I can actually hear my computer spinning up. And all my stuff's already rendered, so I will make a new document. I'll make this a square, so I'll just say 2048 by 2048. And so now what I will do is essentially I want to make a smart object so I can just drag and drop all these different renders and all the effects just populate. I don't have to do it every single time, you know. And so I will select the canvas with the M tool and make a new fill layer. Make it a solid color. And so it'll be the exact same size as both this canvas and then my render in Stager. And so I can just like copy and paste. I don't have to move things exactly and try to like line things up. So I'll just convert this to, actually before I convert it to smart object, I'll call it icon, plural, I guess, and then convert that to a smart object. So now if I go into that, I can drop my gun render in here. So I have my marksman rifle saved, and in the PSD, you'll notice there's a couple different things. And if you can take whichever one you want, but I prefer the denoise. And the reason we did a PSD is because it'll separate from the background. But so I'll just take this denoised, copy it, and Control-Shift-V to paste it. So it is perfectly right there. And so I'll hide this background and save it. And so now it seemed like, at first it seems like a lot of steps to do what you could have just done in the beginning, but I'll show you why in a second. Because first what I'll do is I'll make a new fill layer of the teal color. So I have it copied somewhere else. So I'll just layer, new fill layer, solid color, and then I'll paste this teal color. And so the first thing is to create a clipping mask of that and then change the mode to multiply. So you can kind of see already how the color's coming through, but obviously it looks, it's too, the range is too wide. There's too much black in it, because if I go into Photoshop, PureRef here on my mood board, you'll see, this is an okay image, like there is no white and there is no black. The light values are this, actually, let me go to this one. The light values are this teal color, and the darkest value really doesn't get that dark. And actually, if I show you my effect here, like it kind of only gets about as dark as this. And so we'll do that by using levels in Photoshop. And so if I were to select my smart object and then, no, I'm gonna just hit Control L to make levels and kind of crimp this stuff down. So like right off the bat, I want to get rid of a lot of these deep black kind of values. So I'll drag the output level black to probably around somewhere like there. And then I'll kind of crimp this, not a whole lot, maybe less than that, honestly. Because I'm expecting, because I use the same rendering setup and the same lighting and everything, I'm expecting all the renders to kind of have this sort of graph from one to another. Each one's going to be a little different, but for the most part, I'm kind of expecting that. So that's why I'm fine with one levels to just every single one, just apply this to all the renders. And so I will kind of make it a bit brighter. I want to blow out some of it, and then I'll drag this guy because it is going to be super soft is the idea. And so honestly, maybe more than that. Probably take like there, I think. So that's looking good. It kind of looks weird right now, but I'll make a new fill layer of a black background just so you can kind of see the background. And I think that's looking pretty close, honestly. The only things that's really missing is I feel like it should have some sort of just little glow emission to kind of feel like it's emitting a color. It's not just like this hard outline that kind of wouldn't make sense, because it looks like it's glowing almost like radioactive or something. So I'll add that, and then I kind of want to add a little bit of contrast on these edges here. So I'll probably start with that. I'll just make a new version of this guy, Control-Shift-V, copy it, and then I'll get rid of this levels, I think, and I'll just add a high pass. So filter, other high pass, and I just want the edges, probably like 5 or 6-ish. I'll go to overlay on the blending mode. So now, like, there is a much stronger just contrast with a lot of this stuff without affecting like the levels as a whole. It's just like these certain, like where colors meet, that just becomes more dramatic. And I like that. I might drop it a little bit, maybe like 85. Yeah, I think it's looking good. And so now I want to add that glow. So I'll just select both of these guys and Control J to duplicate them. And the bottom ones I'll just change to like red so I can see it for the time being. And I'll just add a Gaussian blur. So filter, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and 12. It does kind of seem like a lot right now, but I'll just drop the opacity. I think that'll look okay. And so it was like a 12.5, but I'll drop this to like maybe 50. And I think it's looking pretty good, honestly. And so now, because of the way that we rendered it, and the way we did our smart object and everything, because I have a couple objects rendered already, so I will open another one. So if I copy this guy, and it was rendered the same exact way as all the other stuff, so I can just, using the same setup, just drop a new model in here, go into Photoshop, copy the guy from our PSD, and then actually I need to open that smart object. move that. And so here's our rifle, but if I just paste our Keltec and save that, now all of a sudden, oh, it all populated, but I think the high pass didn't go. So I'm actually gonna, let me turn that purple just so I can see it. And so I'm gonna duplicate this, get rid of the levels, and just essentially recreate this purple one. So I'll drag my thing onto it, change it to overlay. And so now, okay, so now it looks better. Now it's working. And so if I actually like go from one to the other, all the effects should follow. Yeah, see, now everything's working. So yeah, a pretty easy effect, honestly. And you can just render new objects every single time, weapons or whatever, and get that effect on them. So yeah, pretty cool effect. If you want to download any of it, just feel free to check the link in the description and you can make all these yourself.